Welcome to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the #1 podcast and resource for Black entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful, sustainable businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. If you're currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, you're invited to join us each and every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family and get ready to elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 432. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today's show topic is Entrepreneur Lessons from Kanye's interview on Drink Champs. Entrepreneur Lessons from Kanye's interview on Drink Champs. Now, if any of you guys have seen the recent interview that Kanye did on Nori's Drink Champs show, you know that it's garnered a whole lot of attention and it has gotten some negative feedback and things of that nature. Now, I thought that it was a great interview, either love or hate Kanye. I know he's done some crazy stuff, you know, the White Lives Matter t-shirts and all of that crazy stuff. But from an entrepreneurial standpoint, there were some gems within this interview, and I want to highlight some of these gems and talk about how you can pull these gems out and utilize them for your business. Now, before we get to today's episode, I just want to share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and resource links, such as the link to my latest book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. 2 platforms I've created to help circulate those dollars in the worldwide Black community. BeSmartByBlack.com and HireBlackFreelancers.com. These platforms are still under reconstruction. We're changing the actual software that we're using, and it's gotten more complicated than we thought, so please bear with us. So if you go to any of those websites, just put in your name and email address, and we'll alert you when they're back up and running. And last but definitely not least, make sure you guys take advantage of the 3-day free access to BEBacademy.com. You get 3 days free access to this online learning portal that can help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time entrepreneur or an existing entrepreneur. We have resources such as online courses, master classes, downloads, PDFs, and a whole bunch of other stuff that are going to help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. You have 3 days free access to everything in the academy. Just go to BEBacademy.com. Now, let's get ready for today's show. Entrepreneur Lessons from Kanye's interview on Drink Champs. So as I mentioned before, I wanted to do an episode or episodes that are most impactful for our community. And today's episode, I'm going to break down and dissect Ye's recent interview on Drink Champs, and I'm going to give you some entrepreneur lessons to live by. Now, before we dive into this episode and this topic, guys, your thoughts and comments on Kanye's interview, those are your personal thoughts and comments. Now, I don't personally agree with everything that he said, but he did make some solid points in terms of entrepreneurship and what he's dealing with and what he's going through. So we're going to focus on that aspect of the interview. It's funny, I listened to it one time and I tried to go back and listen to it again, but I know that Revolt pulled it down off of Drink Champs, and I happened to find it somewhere else on the on YouTube. Then they pulled that one down. So once again, if you want to try to find it, just search it on YouTube. Maybe somebody else has put it up. So let's get ready to dive in, and I'm going to give you guys 7 different lessons that I learned from Kanye's interview on Drink Champs. Lesson number 1, create your own platform and understand that you're only a guest on other people's platforms. Create your own platform and understand that you're only a guest on other people's platforms. I've been saying this, guys, if you've listened to me for any period of time, for the longest. You don't own social media. So what happened, Kanye got basically kicked off of Instagram and Twitter, And he's been locked out after he allegedly made a series of anti-Semitic comments on both social media platforms. And this happened the past weekend. So what I'm trying to explain to you guys is social media is great. You always want to have a social media presence. But if you do not own and control that platform, you can get shut down and silenced. Okay? So I talk about it all the time. How do you create a platform where nobody can shut you down? And that's by building your database. So, for example, you can have a podcast. This podcast, nobody can shut this podcast down. Okay? So all I got to do is upload it to my hosting platform, and it's up there. An email list, a database. So if you have databases of email addresses, you can connect that way. You can connect with video, but not YouTube. Once again, YouTube is a platform that you do not own or control. So any social media platform or YouTube, you don't own or control that. They can shut you down and kick you off. There's so many instances I can cite about that it's ridiculous. Okay? Reza Islam got shut down. Farrakhan got shut down. Dumbass Donald Trump got shut down. So when these people get shut down, it's nothing for them to shut you down. Okay? So you need to create your own platform. Newsletters are a platform that you can create. Once again, email addresses where you can send out emails to everybody in your list. Nobody can stop you from doing that. Podcast platforms. Nobody can stop you from doing a podcast. Now, if you want to do video, you just need to control the video and host the video on your own website. Okay? So I've told you guys stories time and time again of businesses that were built solely on social media. So one of the BEB family members had a very lucrative business, but all her content was on social media. It was on Instagram. And then when Instagram shut them down, guess what? They lost the contact to be able to connect with their audience. So now they can't sell their products or services. They can't communicate with their audience. So don't be silly, guys. Make sure you can create a platform that you control. Yes, you want to use social media, but that's just an add-on. That's gravy. That's on top of what you already have built on your platform. So right now, people are like, man, you got an advantage because you got your podcast and you got hundreds of thousands of listeners listening every month. Yeah, but I built that platform. It's not easy to build a platform and it's time consuming. But once you've created it, you're at a super advantage over a lot of other people. Now, there's some people, like I said, that their business is solely built on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever. And when the algorithms change, you know what's going on with Instagram now. All they want to do is reels. Right. So they're over there trying to counter TikTok, even YouTube Shorts. So these platforms are going to go through growing stages and growing pains, and they're going to change. And if you hitch your wagon just to social media, I guarantee you sooner rather than later, there's going to be some hiccups. So you need to start creating your own platform and understanding that you're only a guest on other people's platforms. So that's building a database, an email database. I know people think email is dead. It's not dead. People do millions of dollars in sales via email. You use social media to generate those emails and build your database. Okay, social media is gravy. It shouldn't be the be all that ends all. And if your business is running like that, trust me, there's so many stories, horror stories of people that got shut down, not by their own doing. There's a thing out there called sabotage. So one of the BEB family members, her competitor in her market space, actually had all of his followers go and complain to Instagram to shut down her account. And it kept getting shut down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. It killed her business. And so what you have to do to make your business ironclad is build your database. Lesson number 1, create your own platform and understand you're only a guest on other people's platforms. Lesson number 2, when somebody controls your product or your services, you're at their mercy. When somebody controls you or your product or services, you are at their mercy. So perfect example. So Adidas just recently announced that it's placing its deal with Kanye West Yeezy brand under review following the rapper's appearance in a White Lives Matter t-shirt at his Paris Fashion Week show last week. Now, in a statement seen by Hypebeast, the sportswear brand said successful partnerships are rooted in mutual respect and shared values. Now, do I agree with the White Lives Matter t-shirt? Of course not. But the whole thing we're talking about today, guys, is lessons you can learn from Kanye's interview and the stuff that Kanye's doing. So when somebody controls you or your product or your service, you're at their mercy. The freedom comes when you control the whole vertical. If you control the production, manufacturing, and distribution of your product or service, then you don't have anything to worry about. But when you're partnering up and somebody else has a piece of control or some type of control over your product or service, then you're at their behest. So when Adidas said, you know what, yo, we got to reevaluate this Yeezy brand thing here, even though we're making a ton of money, you know, it's under us. We're branding, co-branding Adidas and Yeezy, and we don't like right now what Yeezy's talking about. So once again, guys, the biggest thing that you need in business is control. Now, you're not necessarily going to be able to control everything in your business, but the more that you can control, the better off you're going to be. That's why I always talk about vertical integration. If you can manufacture, distribute, and then be able to go direct to the consumer, you're in a better position. Okay? So that's number 2. When somebody controls you or your product or service, you're at their mercy. Okay? Lesson number 3. Don't trust people just because they're close to you. Don't trust people just because they're close to you. Now, on the interview, Kanye told a story about his personal trainer who actually sold footage of him going to a mental hospital, which was unauthorized footage, and it wasn't supposed to go to the press. And so his trainer, I believe, sold it to TMZ for about $30 million. So don't necessarily trust people because they're close to you. And it's unfortunate. That could be your family members. It could be your spouse or partner. It could be your best friend or friends that you've known for a long time. What you don't understand, guys, is there's a thing called perspective. And so your perspective of your relationship with this person or persons or whatever is one thing, but they also have a perspective on what the relationship is. So you can have a family member that may be jealous of you. So if they think that you're doing well, now you could be hurting inside, looking good on the outside, but hurting inside. But if they think that you're doing well, they could be jealous and spiteful of you. And that could be your spouse or partner. Could be your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend that you grew up with. So don't trust people just because they're close to you. My mom always said something, and I pass this down to my kids. Remember the source. Whatever type of information that you're getting, remember the source. Where is it coming from? What's the angle? Why are people saying this or doing this? And I don't want y'all to think that, you know, everybody's out to get you, because they're not. There are a lot of people that are in your corner. Okay. I did an episode before and I talked about the type of people that are out there. There's only a few types of people: family, friends, foes, and fools. Family, friends, foes, and fools. Family, you know what? You can't change that. That's your family. You know, they may be good family or bad family, but they're your family. Your friends, these are people that are really behind you, that want the best for you, to want to see you win. Foes, these are haters, people that oppose you, want to see you do bad. They can't stand when you're doing well. And then you have fools. These are people you don't even waste your time with. These are people that have no concept of what you're trying to do and never will. It doesn't matter how long you explain it to them. Once again, these are people you don't even want to waste your time with. It's like arguing with an idiot. Okay, you're never going to win. So just leave them alone. Family, friends, foes, and fools. Those are the 4 type of people you're going to come up against. Okay, but don't trust people just because they're close to you. And how many times have you seen it, be it in pop culture or throughout history, people being betrayed by those that are closest to them? You know, it never hurts as much. I expect strangers to do things, but friends and family members and close people I'm close with, that's what hurts the most. So don't trust people just because they're close to you. Remember, there's a perspective that everybody has, and your perspective of your relationship with this company, with this business, with your business partner, with your spouse partner, whatever family member, may be different from that other person's perspective. Once again, they could be jealous of what you're doing or what they think that you're doing, because it ain't even that sweet out there. You could be making a ton of money and that looks sweet from the outside, but you don't know what people are dealing with on the inside. You see that all the time with entertainers and stars, and they have millions of dollars and they're super unhappy. So always remember, guys, money doesn't buy happiness. OK, so it's a whole lot of other stuff in there, fulfillment and really understanding what life is about. Money is just a tool. Now, yeah, hell yeah, it's going to make life a little easier if you have resources. When you have resources, you got options. And what we're talking about today, guys, is entrepreneur lessons from Kanye's interview on Drink Champs. Lesson number 4, control your own distribution. Now, I talked about this briefly a minute ago, but control your own distribution. Now, in the interview, Ye was talking about he had 4 concerts set up at SoFi Stadium in L.A., and they got canceled because of the White Lives Matter T-shirt that he was wearing. So he said American Apparel owner Dove, I forgot the guy's name, wanted Ye to go to the Holocaust Museum first before he would put out the T-shirts. So he had a deal with the White Lives Matter T-shirts with American Apparel. And the owner of American Apparel said, you know what? In order for me to put these T-shirts out, man, you're going to need to go to the Holocaust Museum. OK, so and he also lost 4 shows at the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles because he's not controlling his own distribution. And let me just say this, guys, about today's technology. With today's technology, guys, you can create your own platforms and your own distribution. One of the things that I don't even understand, and I'm not going to pretend I understand it, is why is Kanye allowing somebody else to create his own stadium shows and stadium tours? I listened to an interview a couple years ago by Kevin Hart. And Kevin Hart wasn't waiting around for somebody to sponsor his world stadium tour. He created and sponsored the tour himself. He booked the venues, he did everything, the logistics, the whole nine, and created a stadium tour. Once he created the tour, he was like, look, hey, do you guys want to sponsor it? I'm doing the tour anyway, but if you want to get exposure on my tour, you can sponsor it. So being able to control your distribution, that's the biggest thing out there, guys. The technology right now, we have platforms for video, audio, social media, direct to consumer, the whole thing. And one of the things that I was talking to one of my boys about the other day is we have so many black moguls out there, billionaires or close to billionaires, right? And I'm saying to myself, if you put together Tyler Perry, Oprah, Puffy, Master P, Dr. Dre, who else out there? Anybody else Byron Allen, anybody else that you can think of that has that long money like that, why don't you create your own streaming television network? Now, I know Dame Dash is trying it, but he might not have the traction, or he's not getting that traction from mainstream. But if you combine all of these moguls, and once again, the problem before, what Byron Allen was suing about was trying to get his channels on the cable TV, on the Comcast, on these other platforms. Now people are cutting cords. People don't even have cable anymore. I have YouTube TV. I cut DirecTV off about over 2 years ago. So now with the streaming platforms, you can create your own distribution. Control the distribution directly to the consumer. So when somebody says, when you got your hands tied and now you can't do your shows at SoFi Stadium because your sponsor pulled out, that shouldn't even be a problem. I'm going to book and do my own shows. I don't care who you are. And guess what? Now, if the facility says, you know what, we don't want you here, guess what? Go build your own. That's why, man, we got to start using our minds and being able to be flexible and solve problems. So if Kanye said, you know what, hey, they're not going to let me go to SoFi Stadium, let me go and create. They used to do this back in Vegas all the time. And trust me, when they had big fights, before they had a lot of the big arenas out there, they would actually build outdoor arenas, for some of the biggest fights out there. So when Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns fought, I believe that was in the outside stadium. Hagler and Hearns, that was in the outside 25,000 seat stadium. So you literally now can even go on grass somewhere, like they have all of these concerts. So why are you letting somebody else control your distribution when you have the resources and the technology are out there? So whatever you're doing in business, guys, make sure the more, and I talked about this in controlling the vertical, the more you can control, the better off you'll be. So if you have a hot sauce brand, right, like my hot sauce brand, now I can control my distribution because I can go direct to the consumer. Right now, I'm trying to get in retail stores because I want to hit them from both angles. But if I don't get into some of these big box stores, I'm still going to be okay because people can go to hellyeahhotsauce.com and buy the product direct to consumer. It's all about controlling your own distribution. So now with Ye's crazy ass White Lives Matter t-shirts, American Apparel said, guess what? We're not going to put those out right now. We want you to go to the Holocaust Museum and then we'll talk about it. So Ye doesn't even have control over distribution. One of the things that I don't even understand is just like when Ye was on the Sway show years ago, and Sway told him, hey man, if you're not happy with your deal with Adidas, go ahead and put your own stuff out. And at the time, Ye was like, how am I supposed to do that? Man, come on. Direct to consumer. But see, what happened is his social media got shut down, Instagram and Twitter. And that's probably where the majority of his communication came from to his audience. And now, since he doesn't have that, guess what? He's ass out. OK, he should have had a database of ticket buyers and everything. And I'm sure he has some type of database of people that have purchased products from him and stuff like that. But the real asset to any business, guys, is the database. Bottom line. That was lesson number 4, control your own distribution. Speaking of control, I want to talk to you guys real quick about today's show sponsor, Shopify. So if you've ever been ready to start your own business and be your own boss, this is definitely the time. You know, we're in Q4 right now, and that's where many companies make most of their money. So if you ever wanted to start an e-commerce business, Shopify is the go-to platform. Now, I talked about my hellyeahhotsauce.com. That is on the Shopify platform. So I'm just not talking about Shopify. I'm actually a user of the platform. And as a user of the Shopify platform, this is the sound I love to hear. When you hear that sound, it means you just made another sale on your Shopify store. Make sure you sign up for the free trial at shopify.com/BEB, all lowercase, like Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Go to shopify.com/BEB to start selling online today. Shopify.com/BEB. So today, guys, we're talking about entrepreneur lessons from Kanye's interview on Drink Champs. Lesson number 1, we talked about create your own platform and understand you're only a guest on other people's platforms. Lesson number 2, when somebody controls you or your product or your service, you're at their mercy. Lesson number 3, don't trust people just because they're close to you. And lesson number 4, control your own distribution. Now, lesson number 5, you don't have to go outside of your community for professional services. So during the interview, Kanye talked about how in terms of artists, entertainers, athletes, and people in that type of entertainment or sports field, most of the times their financial management and also their business management is handled by somebody in the Jewish community. And so he asked a question. And the question was, he said, how many Jewish athletes or entertainers are represented by black lawyers or by black financial advisors? And it's a great question. And the answer is probably few, if any. And so one of the things that we talk about here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and also that Kanye mentioned, is you don't necessarily have to go out of your community for professional services. So any legal and financial representation we can find in our own community. And this goes back to slavery, systemic racism. Sometimes we don't even trust our own people because it's been so ingrained. And that's something that we have to really get away from. So you don't have to go outside of the community for any professional services, especially when it comes to professional services that you need licenses. So, if you hire a lawyer, now some lawyers are better than others. Some lawyers have specialties and are better in certain areas than others. But there's a standard of achievement because you have to pass your law degree or get your law degree and pass the test. So if you're a financial advisor, you have to pass a specific test. So once again, you don't have to go outside of your community for professional services. And you really want to look at what he said there, and it's honest. It's an honest assessment of what's going on. Real life example, one of my first cousins, we like brothers, he's a sports agent, right? And I'm not going to bring up some of these big sports agents out there, but when he's, going after football players coming out of college versus these other sports agents that are not of our ethnicity, they're not black, they're of another ethnicity. And he told me a specific story about this one guy who's a real big agent, but he plays dirty. And so he had this client all locked up. The other agent comes to the client's house. This guy was a running back, I believe, for UCLA. This was years ago, but he has all kind of recent stories. And he was all ready to get him signed. And then he saw the guy drive up in a brand new Escalade, right? So he was like, where did this come from? And so the whole story, I'm going to capsulize it. Basically, they were saying that, this guy is good. He's a nice guy and all that, but he can't do what we can do. He doesn't have the connections that we have. So you'll be better off signing with us because we have connections to everybody else and it's going to help your career. And it's just so crazy because once he signed with that agent, the agent made him sign with a financial management company, which was run by the agent's brother. So now this new NFL player that's never had a dime in his life, he and his family, are now being managed by people outside of our community because he was told that my cousin didn't have the resources or the connections to help him out. When in all honesty, they had the same resources and different connections. But once again, a lot of times we're taught that, hey, what we have isn't good enough. We have to go out there and we have to get somebody from some other ethnicity to make sure that everything is good. It almost comes back to the stuff about designer clothing, right? You got a ton of black designers out there that have quality just as good or better than all of these other designers. But because you want to be seen in Gucci, Balenciaga, and all this other overpriced crap, you're going to bypass your own to go to somebody else. So number 5, you don't have to go outside your community for professional services or damn near anything, to be quite honest, when it comes to the service business. Number 6, and this kind of goes back to number 5, support your own like other ethnicities. So when he was on the show at Drink Champs, he said, you know what, we're going to drink this Douce and we're not going to drink Hennessy. So Douce, I believe, is Jay-Z's product. So let's drink this Douce over Hennessy so we can come together. And so he talked about in the entertainment industry and in business, he said how the Jewish community sticks together. And when one person makes money in the community, they all make money. And what he's basically highlighting is truth, because what he's saying is that they stick together as a community, just like the Asian community, just like other African communities, things of that nature. But because we've been displaced, a lot of times we don't support our own businesses. So that's why you can go in our neighborhoods and every corner in North Philly, right? And I counted this the other day when I was in North Philly. I think I counted about 12 businesses in about a 3 to 4 block area. And all of them were owned by somebody else that didn't look like us. Be it Koreans, be it Chinese, be it some other, ethnicity, Indians, and all of that type of stuff. And Everybody is making money off of us because we don't support ourselves or support our businesses like the other ethnicities do. And point in fact, when Kanye mentioned, or Ye as he's called now, as he named himself, as Ye said, how many other people or ethnicities are going to go get financial managers and business managers that are not of their ethnicity? The only people or ethnicity that can raise their hand is probably us, because we're first to go outside of the community to find somebody because we don't think that our people are qualified enough or have the connections enough. And so every other community basically supports their own except us. And it's almost like the old crab in the barrel theory where, hey, I'm going to get mine. You're going to have to get yours, as opposed to working collectively. And until we're able to work collectively, guys, I'm telling you, we're going to be in a sad state of affairs. That's why I talk about this whole podcast, this whole BEB ecosystem. It's about building and supporting Black-owned businesses, circulating the dollars in our own community, giving our own people an opportunity. So when I owned my mortgage business, I used to hire so many people that that wouldn't have gotten an opportunity at other mortgage companies. And it's so crazy. All people need many times is just an opportunity. And we've had people that were making $30,000 a year as collectors, bill collectors, making $200,000, $300,000 a year as loan officers. We brought them in, we trained them from the door, and we taught them how to get that money. We taught them how to build a career that they not a career where you're barely making money, a career where you can take care of your family. And once again, but you got to support your own. Everybody else does it. So you look at in the Asian community, if they come I'll use the city of Philadelphia. This could be anywhere. Come into the city of Philadelphia. A lot of times they're going to come into their own town or their own area in the city. Los Angeles has Koreatown. San Francisco has Chinatown. Philly has a Chinatown. New York has a Chinatown. So those are areas specifically that people of one ethnicity kind of group into, and now they have their own community within a community. Where does that happen if you're Black? Ain't no Black town that I know of. Okay, they may be certain pockets, but they're not cohesive. So right now, just to give you another real life example, the Philadelphia 76ers, the NBA team, is trying to build a new stadium downtown, which is going to be adjacent to Chinatown. And now, as soon as that thing leaked, the community members in Chinatown started petitioning because they're thinking that this may interfere with their commerce. Okay, now that wouldn't happen if it was in a Black neighborhood. The problem is we don't work together and stick together like that, and we don't support our own. See, there's mechanisms that these other communities have. Okay, they have people in politics to help control policy. They have financial institutions. I can't even count how many in Chinatown, how many Chinese banks that they have, just in a small, maybe 10 by 10 block area radius. They're mortgage companies, written in Chinese and English, the letters on the buildings. So there's an infrastructure that they have, and they support their own. So when somebody else comes in from China and they're coming into Philly, they have a community that they can feel comfortable in. And it's about supporting your own, just like other ethnicities. And it's not anything wrong because everybody else is doing it. Just because I'm pro-Black doesn't mean I'm anti anything else. It's just like any other ethnicity is going to support their own. So number 6, support your own like other ethnicities. And what we're talking about today, guys, is entrepreneur lessons from Kanye's interview on Drink Champs. And last but not least, number 7, read between the lines. So in the interview, Kanye said for 4 years, Forbes magazine wouldn't call him a billionaire. So Forbes has that billionaire list that they come out with every year. And he said the reason they did that was to diminish his accomplishments and control the narrative. He said he'd been a billionaire 4 years before they put him on that list. And so once again, you have to remember You have to stop thinking superficially and start to process information differently. And so, like I said earlier, my mom always told me, always remember the source of your information. Also, it's not just what people say or what they say. You have to pay attention to what people don't say. What do they omit? And why do they omit it? Okay? That can also tell you a lot. So number 7, read between the lines. So you got to have what we call that third eye. There's superficial comprehension, and then there's reading between the lines, understanding and comprehending what this message or what this content is about. So when Forbes omitted Ye from the billionaire list for 4 years, there was some underlying things about that. Why do you think that happened? And I talk about remember the source. Why did that happen? Why did they do that? Why did they want to create the narrative to diminish his accomplishments? And so you have to understand, and you also have to understand and lock in what media is today. Okay? Who controls the media? What messages that you get? Why you get these messages? And I just want to share another personal story. I've shared this before, but this is why media is so important. Especially now, we need to focus on black media and creating black narratives. So my sister-in-law, who lives in the DC area, the DMV area, she has one of her best friends that actually moved here from Australia probably 25 years ago. And when she moved to Australia, based on the content and the narrative that was painted of black Americans, she was told, don't associate or get involved with black people because they're no good. Okay. I'm not going to use the words that she used, right? Because this is a PG podcast. But this is what she was told. So when she got to the States, she was very wary of dealing with black folk. And then she met my sister-in-law. They actually worked together and they became best friends and damn near sisters. But the narrative, what the media paints, the pictures that they paint of us, and it's just ridiculous about, reading between the lines and understanding how important the symbolism and the messaging is for us. So Ye also talked about in terms of the messaging. He said now the record companies, media companies, they'll have us looking like fools, right? On TV with a lot of these fake ass reality TV shows making us look like clowns, cooning and buffooning. That's fine, right? Also the music, every other word is the N word. I'm gonna kill you, bitches, hoes, all of this type of stuff. But as soon as you say something derogatory about another ethnicity, they shut that down. So the powers that be in the media will allow you to co-sign certain narratives, but when it comes to something else, they're going to shut that thing down. So the actual episode of Ye's interview on Drink Champs was pulled off of Drink Champs by Revolt, which is Puffy and all of them. They pulled it off. And they pulled it off because of pressure. And so once again, it's okay to talk about the N-word, the hoes, bitches, making money, shooting up each other, blah, 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 blah. That's fine. And we have to take responsibility for that too, because we're the ones putting all that dumb stuff out there. Now, before we hit the last quarter of the show, guys, let me just share all my social media contact information and my resource links. The easiest and fastest way, guys, is to go to the website. We spend a lot of money on rebuilding the website, so go to blackentrepreneurBlueprint.com. If you're lazy, take the shortcut, go to bebconnect.com. That'll take you right to the website. Anything that you want to learn, all of the resources, hit the Learn tab, and you'll see everything that you'll need. You'll have the online courses link. You'll have the resource links. If you want to learn things about marketing, e-commerce, strategy and mindset, scaling your business, hit the Learn tab, and then it'll take you to everything that you need. Now, in terms of connecting with me, anything long, hit me on my email address, jjones@blackentrepreneurBlueprint.com, JAYJONES@blackentrepreneurBlueprint.com, Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, Twitter, jjones001. That's JAYJONES Instagram, I got 2 IG accounts, family. J Jones for real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. Second one is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. YouTube, please make sure you get and sign up to the YouTube channel and subscribe. We have additional content on YouTube that is not on the show. Go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and hit that subscribe button. Clubhouse, you can connect with me at I am J Jones. LinkedIn, connect with me, J Jones, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. All right, so that's a mouthful. All of that is also on the website. If you go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, you'll find everything, all my latest, my books, my resources, my online courses, everything there. Make sure you utilize the website. We want that to be the resource for Black entrepreneurs. All right, let's get back to the last part of today's show. Once again, guys, it was titled Entrepreneur Lessons from Kanye's interview on Drink Champs. Like I said, they took it down from the Drink Champs YouTube channel. You still may be able to find it. It's almost a 3-hour interview, but it's very insightful. And sometimes you have to overlook some of the things that Kanye says, but there's a lot of truth in the things that he's talking about. And so when I wanted to bring this to the BEB family, like I said, I wanted to pull out the entrepreneurial lessons that he was talking about during the episode. If you want the show notes, if you're not able to write things down, jot things down or whatever, just go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. On the bottom of each page, you'll see join newsletter or join now. And the newsletter comes out every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it has all the show notes and links to everything I talk about in the episode. So make sure you guys subscribe to that. But getting back to today's content, once again, the interview was, like I said, very long, some good stuff, some crazy stuff in there. But I wanted to pull out those lessons for entrepreneurs. And so Kanye, you're basically getting lessons from a billionaire. Like him, hate him, whatever. You're getting lessons from a billionaire, somebody that has accomplished a whole lot. And so we always have to remember, guys, if you look at the trail of success, most other ethnicities are sticking together and supporting their own. And that's something that Ye was talking about that we need to do. Stop looking outside of ourselves for the solutions. Okay? So people talk about the American dream, right? When other ethnicities come over here, the American dream is built off of our back. The country was built off of our back. But when other people come in, all they see is opportunity. So where we see blight or whatever, poverty, you got these stores that are coming in our neighborhood, extracting all of the resources out the neighborhood and taking them back to wherever they live. They see diamonds. They see wealth. They see opportunity. And we're sitting right in the middle of it, and everybody else is eating off of us because we're super consumers. And we have to flip the dynamic and stop being a consumer, but become a producer. That's what economic power, building an economic power base is all about. Building and supporting Black-owned businesses. Understanding there's no revolution without the economics. There's nothing, I'm not saying there's nothing, but it's harder to accomplish what you want to accomplish if you don't have the resources, right? Even in your personal life. If you don't have the resources to move to another area, guess what? You're going to have to get them resources before you can move to a better neighborhood. Oh, my car is falling apart. I need a new car. Guess what? You need resources to get a new car. Just the simple things in life on your personal side. It's the same thing when it comes to us as a community. And we have to start thinking more community and not individual. So Ye was talking some serious stuff in this interview. And like I said, some may agree with it, some may not, but that's up to you. I'm not here to judge. All I know is I don't have to agree with everything somebody says, but the things that make sense to me, I'm with that. Okay? So if you can find the interview, check it out. Like I said, it's almost like a 2.5-hour interview or whatever, but it was good. And he breaks down his thought process. Now, like I said, love him or hate him, whatever. It is what it is, but he had some great points or great lessons that were inside this interview for entrepreneurs. And we're talking about an entrepreneur at the highest level, a billionaire, a Black billionaire at that. So it's harder for us to achieve based on the systemic racism and the way things are set up than a lot of other ethnicities. And there's no excuse, but this is how the board is laid out. You recognize and understand the playing field, then you have to maneuver based on that recognition and understanding. And that's what we need to start doing by coming together, working as a community, and stop going outside for your solutions when the solutions are inside the community. Do you know how much opportunity we have in our community if we just work together, pool our resources, make a plan? You know, something as simple as if you live in an area without a supermarket, right? And this is one of the BEB family members talked to me about building a supermarket. And I told her, I said, you know, that's a big undertaking. It takes a lot of money to start. And I'm going to end shortly, but I just have to get this out. But I said, what you can do is you can start a produce stand. That's something that you don't need a physical building. You can start a produce stand under a tent, right? And you can be out there every weekend providing produce for your community at a lower cost. So in Philly, we have a ton of outdoor vendors down at the Italian market in South Philly and stuff like that. But in I don't care if it's an urban area or whatever, all you have to do is go to those wholesalers that sell to the supermarkets. You can buy with them oranges, apples, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, peas, potato, whatever it is. And you can literally start something in your own community. Okay. And like I said, there's gold in there, man. There's gold in our community. We're the ones that are sitting back and letting other people extract it. It's like you sitting on a gold mine. Other people are coming in, taking out all the gold, and you over there scratching your head talking about why I don't have no money. And to me, that's idiotic. When you see something that's happening and you know that you can be a part of it, I'm telling you, you need to take advantage of it. Now, I guarantee you, if you were in Chinatown, and I don't care what Chinatown city you in, Philly, New York, San Francisco, you're not going into Chinatown opening up a produce store. You're not going into Chinatown opening up a corner store. You know why? Because they have mechanisms in place that protect that area. They have politicians. They have networks. They have political parties. They have economic development. And so they're not going to let you in there. But we're the only dum-dums sitting over there letting everybody else come in our neighborhood and make the money because we're not working together. We're only worried about, yo, I got to get mine. I need mine. But no, we all need to work together. And if we work together, we all can get some. So once again, guys, we gotta start thinking smarter and putting action behind these thoughts, because there's everybody out there talking about we need to do this, and something else. But what are you really doing? What have you done? And it starts in the home first. Then it goes outside the home into the community, then into the state, then into the world, whatever. But it starts in the home, and it starts with a mindset. And not just having the concepts, but putting action behind those concepts. And that's where the change is made. It's made in you. It's made in me. And it starts in your home. You got kids, talk to them about entrepreneurship. Talk to them about betting on themselves. Help them start a lemonade stand, selling candy at school, whatever it is. You got to put that mindset into people. You know, sometimes when you don't have any other choice, it could be a blessing. So you have immigrants that come over that may not be able to speak a lot of English. The only option is, you know what? I got to open up a store or do something because my communication barrier isn't going to allow me to get a corporate job, right? Unless you're translating for somebody or whatever. So sometimes that can actually be a benefit. And so we have to start using the resources that we have and working as a community, guys, to change our situation, to change the narrative. We have everything we need in our community. We have the resources. We have the brain power. We have it all. We just got to put it together, and we have to stop being distracted by the dangling objects, the shiny objects, the dumb stuff that's out there. You barely can pay your rent, and you over there buying designer shoes or handbags from people that don't give a damn about you. You can barely pay your electric bill, and you out there trying to buy a BMW or Mercedes Benz so you can look good. There's a difference, guys. People that have real money, they're not worrying about looking good. They make sure that they are good first. So I'm just going to close with this. Had a conversation with one of my good brothers, and we were just talking about people that are in the street game, right? And I get it. Sometimes you think that's the only way out. You haven't hit that point of enlightenment yet. So all you hustlers out there, you're a business person. You know product, you know distribution, you know collections. So you're a business person. You just doing it in an illegal environment. But the whole key to it is, and I was saying, I used to tell my stepbrother this. He was a kingpin back in the day. I said, yo, dude, I said, instead of driving all these cars around, dumbass wearing fur coats in the summertime, looking stupid, flossing, got everything you own, you wearing it or you driving it. I said, yo, man, go grab an Impala or something, a Ford Focus, whatever. Drive around in that. Take your money, like some of these other ethnicities do. Go to another state, form a couple of LLCs, buy some apartment buildings, buy some houses, and you just roll. You a regular dude. The problem that most of these nuts get caught is because they want to look good. They want to drive the flashy cars. They want people to know that they got money, and that comes from insecurity. That comes from a place that, hey, I never had nothing before. Look, y'all, look what I got. And so when you on the radar with the honeys and all of that, you also on the Fed's radar. So if you're going to be in the game, be smart. Be smart. What did American Gangster say, Frank Lucas? The loudest man in the room is the weakest man in the room. You don't need to show everything that you got. People with real money don't show it because they know they got it. And they don't give a damn about who knows or not. Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, used to drive a pickup truck. He didn't drive a Bugatti. And that's the whole thing. A lot of these cats getting popped because it's the vanity of it. I didn't have nothing before. I came from nothing. Let me show y'all what I did. And when you showing other people what you did, you showing the feds what you doing. And when the feds come see you, they not thinking about what it is. When they come see you, they already got you. Trust me. I got family members. The feds been up in one of my offices before. All right, for one of my employees that was doing something crazy. Took his monkey ass out in handcuffs when I had the mortgage business. This dude was over there stealing IDs, and he had been doing it for a while. And when the feds came in, they didn't come in to talk. They came in to take that fool to jail. And so when you're doing something, if you're in the game, like I said, I don't condone none of that, but I understand. If you're in the game, be smart, man. All right, y'all, I'm finished with my rant, man. I'm sorry about that, but sometimes I get super passionate about what we're trying to accomplish here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Once again, guys, I say this each and every week, but I mean it. We get more and more downloads because of you, the BEB family. Thank you guys so much. Please continue to spread the word about the podcast. The new updated website, blackentrepreneurBlueprint.com. We want that to be the resource for Black entrepreneurs and the whole ecosystem with the online courses, trainings, books, and everything like that. Remember, guys, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about building an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.